Since September, we've been doing our Sunday services different every single week. In a minute, we're going to hear about all the things that people have enjoyed about how that's looked. But the reason why we're doing it is because we want to try something new in G2, and we think that we have a great opportunity to experiment with how we do Sunday services, but also because we think teaching happens really well, in fact, in small groups. So we've been doing that with teaching happening online that people watch in person, but in their small groups. And that's freed up our Sunday services to try all sorts of different things. Here's what people loved.
During the past 6 months, one of my favorite Sunday was Ignition Day on last November, because in first place, God gave me a heart to love this church when I saw that in G2 we embrace everyone to spread His gospel. No matter how old or how young you are, you need to be prepared and be light. And in second place, God spoke to my heart through Aaron's life and asked me, how much are you willing to give me so I can multiply it?
My favourite service last term was one where we stood around in a circle and the worship band was in the middle, and we did an extended period of worship and prayer. So people would shout out things that they were hearing from God, or just an encouraging message for the church. And yeah, it was just a really great time to connect with God.
So one of my favourite services of the past however many months was the week that we did worship in the round. I remember just being really panicked, like, people are going to hate this, they're not going to get this. I'm going to tell them they're not going to have words, and everyone's going to go, what is she doing? And I thought, it's not going to work. And we did it, and we took this big risk of faith. And actually, I think while it was really different and people did acknowledge it was really different, I think people really enjoyed it as well. And I love being part of a church community that are prepared to take those big risks and those big steps alongside you.
Hi, so my favourite Sunday was when we did the in the round with the worship, because I just felt the Spirit really moving. Everyone kind of just fell away from everything else. No one was really paying attention to what anyone else was doing. It was kind of just them in God.
So my favourite service in last term was definitely the worship service, when we were running around and we had the band in the middle. And not only did I love it because it was a great experience being on the band, but I also loved the community experience, the fact it was so Spirit-filled, and we were just singing our hearts out to God for an hour and a bit, hour and a half, something like that. It was so much fun. It was just amazing, praising His name, just song after song. It was also great when the kids came out at the end, when they all started jumping around. That was a ton of fun.
Particularly enjoyed Zone Sundays for two reasons. One reason was when we had a room with Morgan in, and we always raise up children and young people as well as adults, so that was really great to go into a room and get teaching from Morgan, who was brilliant. And then also in another room that we were in with Chris, we were painting rocks, and it was great to do something creative and think about how we can do prayer through creativeness. But also because in that meeting I met Beth, who I had never met before, and she's great, and it was great to connect with new people.
Because it's fun, I get to see my friends, and I like the baptism.
One of my favourite Sundays was the Hope and Community service that we had, where we all gathered together to eat together, play games, have a chat. I really liked that everybody sat on tables where they didn't necessarily know each other or know each other as well, and just getting to know people a bit better and finding out what Jesus is doing in their lives I found really exciting.
At G2 I like the food, and I really like praying.
The service which stood out for me in the past 6 months, I'd have to say, is probably the Hope and Community service, and I think it was so encouraging to hear people's stories of hope. I think the last few weeks have been quite difficult, and it's been so encouraging to me to hear people's stories of hope.
I like church because there's lots of yummy snacks and you get a bit of free time after, and I really like worshipping.
This has been the Passover meal. I thought it was really fun to try the different food together and find out a bit about what the Jews would do when they celebrate.
Because I like the baptism and the food.
I find really nice about having a variation in sermons and worships is I find it that there's a variety of ways of growing in my relationship with God, and it's just really refreshing.
I really like the games and activities we do at church, and I also like the prayers. because they are very inspiring.
Really like the fact that at G2 you never quite know what you're going to get each week. I like the variety of the services, and I particularly like the weeks when we get a chance to really get into a passage for that week and think deeply and learn from God in that passage.
I really like G2 because instead of just sitting still and listening to worship, it's always really lively, and and a good sign of that is when Liz was on Welcome, and instead of just saying hello, welcome to G2, she was like dancing around and having loads of fun with the kids that were coming through, which I think is much better and it gets more kids involved.
The ancient hymns that we did last week. This was an opportunity to look at how ancient hymns and various pieces of biblical music can take inspiration from the Bible, and in some cases actually take the Bible itself and turn it into a musical form, as is seen in things like the Psalms.
The G2 service I've loved most over the past few months has definitely been the baptism service, where I myself got baptised. It was so great to invite so many friends and family to watch me take this next step in my faith, and so amazing to share my testimony with so many wonderful people and just get so much love and support from it. It was just a really exciting experience and amazing to publicly declare my faith and just feel so loved and so welcomed into a wonderful community.